So for today's podcast, I've got my good friend Jeremy London. Now, you may know Jeremy from Party of Five, Seventh Heaven, Mallrats, Gods and Generals. There's a bunch of stuff that Jeremy's been in. What you may not know about Jeremy is he now lives in Mississippi. And during the pandemic, he found his new passion, which is gardening. And he made so much stuff in his yard that he didn't know what to do with it, particularly pepper plants. So he started making pepper jelly out of all these peppers that he had because he didn't know what else to do with them. And he's selling them on the internet. So he's actor turned gardener turned pepper jelly maker. It's a pretty cool story. And I come to his house and we make pepper jelly over about a 2-hour period. And we talk about everything from, again, Cobra Kai comes up in this one, to the riots in D.C. And it's a great example. And I think one of the things I love about Jeremy is, and there's no other way to put it, Jeremy's a liberal and I'm a conservative. Yet we are really, really good friends. And it's a great testament to the fact that we all can get along in this country. And his pepper jelly is pretty damn good too. This is a fun interview. We go all over the place. If you can bear with us, there's a review coming at the end where we eat the pepper jelly. And I really do mean this. I've made pepper jelly homemade before, and his pepper jelly is the best that I've ever tasted. One of the cool things about it is with his name recognition, he's actually making this. So if you do happen to order London's pepper jelly, like, he makes it, he bottles it up, and then he signs every top before he ships it out. So it's a pretty cool story. And I hope you enjoy this episode of the Stafford Sheridan podcast with my good friend and talented actor, Jeremy London. So who would think that you were standing in a kitchen in Mississippi making pepper jelly?
Which is a great story.
Which is what we're doing.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so London's pepper jelly.
Yeah. Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
Oh, we are recording.
We're live right now.
Oh, man.
I said conversational, brother.
Hey, I love that.
It gives people,
I didn't just sit here and feel like I got to prepare something mentally to make sure I come across as some intellect.
No, that's exactly what we don't want.
Right. We
want the real Jeremy.
Well, I love that you're here, and you caught me in the middle of cutting peppers, and at some point during this process, I'm probably gonna yelp in pain because I probably will touch my face or something at some point.
Because you're cutting hot peppers right now.
Because I'm cutting jalapenos right now, yeah. So we use jalapenos that we grow in our... Oh, I keep putting this in the damn refuse. In the compost. We use locally sourced peppers, but we grow as many of them as we can. We're kind of dormant right now in the season.
Yeah. And it is... Well, it's February 1st now, isn't it? Is today February 1st?
It is.
Yeah, February 1, 2021.
We made it through January, Stafford.
2121. That's what today is. Hey, look, and I swear to God, this is true.
It is 2-1.
When I left Benton from filming today,
weird.
a black cat crossed in front of me and
No!
I turned around.
I've done that before, dude. I do that all the time. It's the Irish in me. And do you know that...
we have Irish blood.
Do you know that I will have an sort of almost like an existential breakdown if I see a hat on a bed?
I've never heard of that one.
Drives me nuts. It's an old Irish thing because generally it meant that because when somebody died, you had to the family had to be in charge of taking care of their body and prepping them for burial and all of that stuff. And for some reason, shoes on beds and hats on beds are a part of that sort of thing. And I always thought it was BS until it happened to me three different times, like so significantly and poignantly that I couldn't help but go, wait, I had a hat on the bed earlier and now this is happening again. It's probably just coincidence.
Yeah,
but in our minds,
but you're not leaving a hat on the bed.
I'm not leaving a hat on the bed. I ain't taking that chance.
Why not? Why risk it?
Oh, goodness. The universe is too weird as it is.
So I've got something that you need to do after this.
Yeah, what's up?
You need to Google Jerry Clower sitting up with the dead.
God, I love Jerry Clower.
So he's got a story about sitting up
Jerry
with...
Clower.
You know he's from Yazoo City.
I know.
Well,
I grew up listening to Jerry Clower.
He grew up in Liberty, Mississippi.
That's right.
And he worked in... He got to known for telling stories because he was working for Mississippi Chemical in Yazoo City.
Best storyteller ever.
But he's got a story called Sitting Up with the Dead because back in the day, they didn't leave the dead by themselves and somebody had to sit up with them. And I don't want to ruin it for you. You need to go back and check that out.
Right.
Because it's a funny story behind it. Because nobody wanted to do it by themselves.
No.
And there's there's drinking and beer joints involved, and this story is great.
That's
and a
funny.
fight breaks out.
Hear
You got to go back and watch
I
it.
got a lot of my favorite sayings growing up, like that'll make a puppy pull a freight train, something like that. Like that's all Jerry Clower. That's
him.
Ledbetter.
Well, you and I are the same age, so I guess that's about right. How old are you?
I am 24,
Me too.
going on 48.
I'm 47, going on 48. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a pup. You're just a pup.
I hope so. It makes you a pup.
I think we're kind of, for me, the only thing that really, truly is making me feel like I am broaching 50 is I've been getting arthritis really, really, really bad, and I go through days.
Moments.
I've been going through days
where my hands cramp
I can't even cut a pepper some days. My painting has actually been suffering and taking a back seat.
You said that earlier.
Because I can't, I can only hold it so tight and I get so much control and they start shaking. It's not Parkinson's, I know, because I feel it in all my joints. And
like this literally painful.
Yeah,
it's not just shaking.
Oh yes, it's literally deep and it's in all my joints. And what happens, my joints start throbbing, and then my feet start hurting. And I feel like in the mornings when I wake up, I feel like whenever I step out of bed that I'm stepping on the glass on my right foot.
Yeah, that's
really,
not good.
It's really weird, right?
Yeah.
And so, I deal with an inordinate amount of pain on a daily basis and sort of just kind of keep pushing through it. But a lot of the things that I love, I'm a musician. I play the guitar.
How does that work for the guitar?
It's the exact same way that I approached it whenever I first started learning guitar. I was never going to get the calluses on my fingers if I didn't bleed. And it's the same thing that you just have to push through it. And luckily, with playing music, there is that adrenaline and the good sort of
good vibes,
dopamine going through your head.
Yeah, that's what it is. Dopamine.
The stuff that kills a lot of that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I can get through it while I'm doing it, but then whenever I'm finished, all of a sudden it all just hits me and like, my knuckles start throbbing. I can feel my heartbeat in my knuckles, and then my feet start hurting. But the worst part about it is the gut punch of energy that gets sucked out of me whenever they start swelling. I'll be having a perfectly good conversation like this, perfectly good energy day, and all of a sudden I'll feel them start. And I'm not gonna lie, when the weather gets bad, it gets worse. And I always thought that was a bunch of BS.
No,
but it does. It does. And so what happens is I'll be feeling perfectly fine 1 minute. I'll be in the middle of a project, and then I literally just feel like the plug gets pulled.
I guess I could take my jacket off.
Please do. Make yourself comfortable.
So,
put your pants back on, Stafford. I said jacket.
That's not funny. I mean, it's funny, but it's not funny. I just hung it right there. Is that cool?
Yeah. Hey, dude, you've got a great figure in that little G-string you're wearing. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm on a diet.
You came prepared for this cold weather and peppers. So,
be careful what we touch, right?
In your restaurant business, do you use pepper jelly? Have you?
So at the moment we hadn't been. I did in 1933. You know, I'm going to show you some pictures later. I've got some photos that we did with the duck poppers, and pepper jelly was like a huge component of that.
Right on.
And we made it. We actually started out buying it. And believe it or not, pepper jelly's hard to find.
It is.
Like you can't go in the grocery store most of the time.
First of all, you know how big this is going to be up in New York? We've got an investor right now that's talking about bringing us up there because it's a novelty in Pennsylvania. They've never heard of this.
Yeah.
And the people that are trying it there are flipping out. We have one investor, Shane Wedge, and he has been taking it around to his buddies to their chicken wing shops in Philadelphia, cheesesteaks, and people are losing their minds over it. So they want a bunch
putting it on like a Philly.
Philly cheesesteak. Yeah, they're making it with their Philly cheesesteak.
Make it a Southern cheesesteak.
Yeah. I've personally found that I don't like it on meats other than a glaze on like some ribs.
Something grilled.
Yeah. Something to where I can't taste the jelly as much as I can taste the vinegar and the sugars and the caramelization that comes with it.
Yeah.
But then get that fresh taste of the peppers in there. I like that. But I don't want it to taste like whenever you're eating a muffin with jelly and cream cheese. You know what I mean? 'Cause that's weird. So it's what I'm learning through the process is that there are times when I really love the pepper jelly on something, and then there are times when I've actually tasted this incredible product that just didn't make sense with what I was trying to do it with. But then I would just change it, like warm it up and melt it and make it more of a glaze, and then bake it after the glaze, and then it was perfection. So it's figuring out the nuances of the product that we've got.
At the end of the day, you're an artist.
Yes, and that's what all this is.
You can't do your art you've been doing, you find another art. And that started out, I guess, as gardening, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
You started out, was it this summer you started gardening?
Buddy, we started as soon as COVID hit.
You was kind of obvious not going to be much work going on.
Okay, so, the great thing is that Leslie got to come home from work and work from home. And
so the two of y'all did it.
Yeah, that backyard was nothing but dog feces. I mean, it was disgusting. There was nothing back there. Even all those ball patches are still from whenever it was absolutely completely annihilated. But then we built this little one over here, little box, and we
so
just
you start out with one,
and then it started expanding into more, and then that started expanding into more, and we realized we were actually pretty good at it. And then I started the way my brain works, I start thinking in an engineering capacity of, well, how can I maximize the space? And so I invented my own process of building garden boxes to where I can literally bend them downhill, and they actually go with the hill and all of that stuff. Can you take this out? You want to take a little walk?
Sure.
Can I give you a little tour?
Absolutely.
This would be great. You might want to bundle up if you want to pause.
Oh, we're good. We're not going to be out there that long, probably. No. I mean, it's not. If this wind's not bad, it's not bad.
Yeah, I agree. So, when we first started, this was nobody really used the backyard back here, and it was kind of tragic to me, but it was just literally dog poop, right? And so we've had people that were tearing down their back decks and throwing wood away. We went and found it. We got all this real wood, free wood, and so I started building all this stuff. But we started literally with this back here.
This is a great thing about having a mobile podcast.
Isn't this great?
Yeah.
Kale. We got our savory ace lettuce. Look at this beauty. Look at that. Look at that gorgeousness. These are so beautiful.
Now, what is that?
These are red dynasties. And then we got kale over there. And then these are all different types. So this is our romaine lettuce. And you know what's great about all these? These are from the store-bought. We go by store.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, we take the things, we come out here and pop it in.
No, you didn't.
And that's how they grow. This is also celery. Did the exact same thing.
So you took your celery butt and put back in there? I see it now.
Celery butt.
So you're just like, why not try it, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And so I think that's going to be a cabbage, or it's either going to be a cauliflower or a broccoli at some point, possibly. But so we're trying to figure out what thrives in winter, right?
Yeah.
Not a whole lot. But since then, I built this deck. I built all of this sort of way to get around a bridge because we're going to put a koi pond underneath that. But I'm taking down all this stuff. We put that up to try to protect it with plastic whenever they got really cold.
Yeah.
Really good. But we got, come look at Leslie's can real quick. I'll get you out of the cold.
Oh, no, I'm good.
So this is we've been just doing composting here. And
so you put all your compost in this box.
And so by the time we start growing peppers in here, this is going to be the healthiest box here. So these are going to be all peppers here.
So now are you figuring on more peppers because of the deal?
Absolutely.
It's like now you've got a farm, not just a garden.
Exactly. Well, now I've got a sort of more of a monoculture idea of like where I want to focus,
Oh, and you got a little greenhouse.
We do. Look at this. Check it out. Leslie and I built this. This is where she keeps it.
Great.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so, it's cold out, man, but I'll tell you, I like it. I lived in California for so long, Southern California, where there were no, watch your step right here, there were no seasons, so I'm getting a kick out of the different seasons.
Yeah, you can grow different stuff different times of the year.
All these great herbs and stuff back here growing. These,
the herbs look great.
Isn't that?
Parsley.
Oh, I'll do that. Living time.
Oh yeah, it smells great.
Oh, it's the best, man. One of my favorite things to do is come out here, especially with the sage. Whenever the spring hits and we start growing sage, I'll come out here and I'll just grab it and just get intoxicated on just smelling it. I probably look like the biggest weirdo.
It does smell good.
Oh, it's just it's special. It really is special. But yeah, thanks for braving the cold on that.
No, that's good. That was good.
So then we just, we had these outside of the front here. We had all of these rose bushes down there. But the last two days, I moved all those rose bushes there from here and here.
Yeah.
And I refurbished that. That thing was a
I
piece
saw
of
that
junk.
on
That thing
Facebook.
was absolute trash. So I refurbished that. So
Nice.
now we've got all this room to play and just put our magic touch in it. But literally the last bush I was putting in there yesterday, I cut the neighbor's cable.
So your gardening cut the cable?
I did it with a shovel.
I bet they were happy.
Oh, she's so sweet. Her name's Rhonda, and she reads mostly. And so she didn't really care that much. But luckily, the cable company got out here quick.
So that's your art now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to fall down into your peppers. That would be.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, people. I almost wish I brought my camera in now so people could see what all you got going on. But yeah,
It's not going anywhere. We're always
I
going
love
to
the bowl, by the way.
Oh,
It
isn't
says
this
local. Looks like a
great?
cut off bowl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
isn't this
antique looking.
fantastic?
Yeah.
Leslie did give me that. But she's been really. We got a KitchenAid mixer, one of those big stand mixers.
Yeah.
And in the first week, the whole thing got jammed, and so we had to send it back. And they're so backlogged that they can't even tell me whenever I'm going to be able to get my mixer back.
Really?
It could be months. Yeah, and I need that. I'm
Everything
making
is
bread.
so weird.
Yeah, I've been having to do bread with my hands, and my hands are arthritic as hell. Making bread with my hands is not easy.
We ordered a bunch of king cakes from Gambino's Bakery in New Orleans, and we got 0. None of them came in. Isn't that wild? Because they can't get cream cheese. We ordered cream cheese filled cheesecake cakes, and we can't get cream cheese.
Why?
Well, they can't get cream cheese. I'm going to rephrase that. They can't get enough to fill their orders.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it's weird. Let me tell
Oh yeah, take care of business, man.
tell Leslie that the Stafford's here.
Yeah, we got the 2 Leslies
Yeah.
calling us. If mine's trying to call, I put mine on airplane mode while we're recording because it will cut the recording off.
Yeah,
So I have to, and I'm like, all right, I'll text you, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be dead for an hour,
Yeah. Just know that I'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm at Jeremy's. He's not
Yes.
axe murdered as far as I know.
Yet.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
He had never been caught.
Never been caught. That's the thing. That's the trick. No, I really am glad to have you here, man, because I think the strange thing in general is just having communion with other people in the weird world that we're living in right now, and having actual guests in our home.
2020 was so weird. You didn't get a lot of that. Everybody craps on social media, but it allowed us to stay connected during all that.
Oh, yeah,
which I
there's
thought
no
was
doubt
incredible.
about it. Well, I think that it's social media, as much as people want to vilify it for shutting up Nazis, it opens up a lot of opportunities. My entire business is based on social media and contacts.
Well, it's like what we're doing right now.
Exactly right.
We couldn't, I'm not making a living doing this or even making any money doing this right now, but, just
an outlet.
you think about it like this. The ability of me to go to, and when you did one with me, to go to a gas station, set up a camera, film it, distribute it, all for no money. I mean, when we were kids, could you imagine the idea of actually having some type of show where, because the distribution is the most expensive part probably. And
getting people to even know you exist,
Right.
I think, is the hardest part.
Yeah, but before social media.
Then having good content, having an understanding of not taking yourself too seriously, because you're just going to...
Clearly I don't.
You're going to attract a far too right-leaning bunch of lunatics. And I think that
or left leaning
or
lunatics.
both,
They're
whatever
on both sides.
whatever extreme it is, it's impossible to ever think that something you are.
I think the one thing that we've learned from it is
them.
there are extremes on both sides that most of us want to live somewhere between that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You're like, really? Did they really
think
say
Biden's
that?
trying to do that, but golly, it just seems like he's getting so much. I just don't. This partisan politics thing has led us into such a horrible rabbit hole that the egos that cause people to want to be politicians in the first place won't allow themselves to admit that maybe we could handle this differently. You know,
Right.
You know what I mean? Because now that just means that they have to basically in their head say they were wrong. And God, there's nothing wrong with saying you're wrong.
I think, and I like somebody recently had asked me, would you think about running for this particular seat? And I'm like, nah, I'm good.
You're done. You did that.
I've been in politics, and this was a much larger seat. I mean, and I'm like, I don't think I want to get in that rat race. I don't.
Hell no.
We don't. I don't even. On my Facebook page, I never talk politics for that reason. It's just a happy place. I want it to be a happy.
It should be. And that I think one of the things that I whenever you said you wanted to do this, because for me.
You mean the podcast?
Yeah. As far as what we're going to talk about and all that stuff, it's hard for me not to want to sort of dive into at least a very, very sort of and touch on and only because I think that you will have a very fair and balanced approach to your answer here, because you were a judge on what your. If you were in charge of punishing the people that participated in the insurrection in the Capitol, how do you see that? How do you interpret what they did as being terroristic, seditionists, or whatever? And what do you think the outcome should be? I'm not going to ask you what Donald Trump's part in it was, because I honestly think that those people, it doesn't matter what Donald Trump said, that they were going there.
How do you? Because I actually know somebody that was there, and was like, got there and was like, what the fuck is happening? You know what I mean?
That's what I want to hear from. I want to hear from.
And he's standing there, and he's like, he said, look, we were on the other side of the Capitol from where everybody went in, and he said, over there it was nothing like what you saw on the news. And he showed me video, and it's just people standing out there doing what they do.
Yep. Anytime, guess what? And then, that video wasn't made up. That video happened.
No, I'm talking about, but on the other side of the Capitol, where the doors were.
Right.
So first of all, it's a law enforcement issue. Law enforcement's going to have to separate who were the real causes of the issue. So, but at the end of the day, it's a law enforcement issue. They're going to have to investigate it just like they would anything else.
When I listen to Trump's
there's no way
words,
for us to know really what happened on the ground.
Right. When I listen, and unfortunately, I think that.
But yes, the people should be prosecuted.
Yes, Trump is such a smart guy, unfortunately, in some weird chess playing way, that he was smart enough to say, let's go down and be a cheerleader, and the ones we don't like, maybe we don't like so much. But he never said, go storm the Capitol and kill anybody. And so I think ultimately, as much as I don't like him, and I think that I think just impeaching him the second time was enough, I really wish they would just drop this whole fucking thing. I think I touched my face. Oh no!
With pepper? You better wash your hands.
Oh, in the
well, let me ask you this.
Okay.
What's the most fun thing to play in a film? Is it the villain?
Way more fun to play the villain.
This is a great segue. What's the villain you would have wanted to play? Did I stump you?
No, it wasn't a stump. It's an opportunity to reminisce and reflect and think about that, because I think that is a wonderful question, and I would have to say,
I don't interview many actors that have really acted. You know what I mean? So that's a good question.
Well, I've played the gamut.
Have you played a villain?
Oh yeah.
What movie?
It's my favorite stuff. I did a couple.
That was a villain. By the way.
Yeah, I did a Lifetime movie. With Rachel LaFave, where I played this bad cop, but the best one was I played this guy with a split personality who was convinced that he was Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh my god! So what's that film? How come I've never heard of this?
It's cool as shit, dude.
Because I could see you playing that.
With Catherine. She was awful to work with. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to tell it. Heigl. Katherine Heigl. I don't give a shit. Katherine Heigl was not a good person.
I wouldn't have thought that.
She was so selfless, and I mean, so
blonde-headed,
so selfish.
Smile.
She was on
really. I hate to hear that because, like, I'm low key think she's gorgeous.
Yeah, well, she is low key gorgeous, but she also did things like, make sure she didn't shave her legs or give any type of like actual real sexual energy to a scene where you're like supposed to be making love, and you're only supposed to put your hand here and here, and don't you dare do all these.
How awkward is
when you go into something like that that's supposed to be so organic and natural, it loses absolutely everything that the point of the scene was written for, and I know it sounds kind of catty, but it's like she purposefully didn't shave her legs, and in the scene I have to run my hand up her leg, and so you didn't know. So I'm going like this.
What's the name of this movie?
Descendant.
So how do we watch it? Do you know?
I don't know. Maybe Amazon. Can we Amazon right now? Let's see if we can Amazon it. Find the movie Descendant on Amazon.
Never even heard of it. Was it like it was a Lifetime movie?
The Descendants. That's not it. Blood Descendants. That's not going to be it.
Okay, well we're gonna find that.
It.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Jeremy London Descendant. Maybe we should do that. Google a movie called Descendant with Jeremy London.
Isn't technology great?
Yeah, Katherine Heigl. Here we go.
I had no idea that movie existed, dude.
IMDb 2003. It's a trippy movie, man. It's actually one of my favorite roles that I've played because I played this guy who goes in and out of different personalities.
But one of them is Edgar Allan Poe.
Absolutely.
So basically you get to play Edgar Allan Poe.
Yes.
That's about the coolest thing.
Or I get to play
a guy who thinks he's Edgar Allan Poe.
Or one of his
characters
from Edgar Allan Poe. Is that what it was? I want to go watch it again. It's been a while. I got to tell you.
Do you watch your own film?
I don't. I don't. I haven't watched 99%.
So you know how ridiculous it is for me to go shoot a video and then have to go back and edit myself?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. I'm like, oh, shit. I got to watch Stafford Sheridan again. Oh. This guy blows.
Yeah. Well, aren't you
glad you don't have to edit your own?
Well, I've had to.
That's not as fun as
it starts off as a effing nightmare, and so this is what.
You do kind of get numb to
this. Well, it's not even that. You learn different things, and I was just explaining this to my students the other day on
That's a fact.
Online thing is that we don't always look like what we think we look like whenever we're expressing a certain emotion. Some people think they look like they're a badass whenever they're getting mad, and they don't. They just look stupid.
They look like they're pouting.
Right.
Like a kid who's throwing a temper tantrum.
So we have this one, I just met this one.
So to back up a minute, you teach acting.
I do teach acting.
And y'all actually did a class yesterday.
On Zoom, and it was fantastic.
I was going to ask how that went.
Yes. And this one actress who is a fine actress, but she does tend to go towards the comfortable. And the comfortable is what's easy. And what's easy is getting mad and yelling, because that always just feels like drama to people.
Yeah.
And almost everybody can yell and scream. And what happens with that is that you get an adrenaline rush. And that adrenaline rush gives you the illusion that you're crushing it and that you're moving other people because you feel moved. But no, you're just annoying other people because you're starting off at a level to where they can't have time to care about you.
Well, I guess if you're doing that, and this me, somebody doesn't know anything about what I'm talking about, but if that adrenaline's running, it does feed itself.
It does, but you still have to have the control. You actually kind of
become angry a little bit.
But there's different types of anger, and you as a judge and you as somebody who deals with the psychology of the human condition understands that there are different levels of anger, and truthfully the yelling and the screaming part is the warning you that you might get fucked up, because they're the lion that's going, I'm gonna eat you, rah, rah. But the lion that is gonna eat you goes, and he eats you.
Yeah.
You don't even know he's there.
Well, that's the guy
that's the scary line.
I was going to say, if you're in a situation that shit's going on and you got one guy that's not running He's not angry, but he's just kind of giving that cold stare. You're like, that guy's gonna fuck some people up.
He can really kill somebody.
Yes.
I call it the.
He has a gun in his pocket.
Yeah, I
He's
call
not
it.
worthy. Well, you think about it.
Yep.
The lion that can kill you doesn't do all the roaring, but the guy that has the gun in his pocket also doesn't get very scared or angry.
Mm-hmm. It's a Zen karate master kind of thing that most tacticians of something that perfect and the perfect martial artists and blah blah blah, they don't do anything until somebody moves on them, because they have the confidence to know that they don't need to glow. They don't need to go around and tell everybody, "Oh, I know karate." None of that, because it's a peacefulness within, but it's also an intelligent of knowing what he's dealing with. What this person, how far is this person willing to go, and at what point do I step out of this calmness and just put him in his place? You
know who my favorite right now, probably bad guy is and now I can't, Raymond Reddington on oh God, what's his name? I can't think of his name now. Everybody says I look like him, but The Blacklist it's a TV show on NBC.
Oh yeah.
And he gives he's a bad guy, but he's the bad guy you like.
Is it James Spader?
Yes, it's James Spader.
Oh, James Spader.
And my God, he's such a good actor.
Such a good actor.
I mean, like, he blows it out of the water.
Sex, Lies, and Videotape was the sexiest movie ever made.
And I mean, he's been so good for so long, but where he goes through and he has these monologues that are unbelievable, and his voice gets low.
That's a good place to take monologues from him. I should tell my students that.
I've thought about that. It's like, if I ever do a class with you and you do monologue, I'm going to do one from James Spader.
Hey, hop on Saturday with us. You don't have to pay. Just hop on. I'll give you the link. Shit.
Don't want to make a mess.
I'll give you the link if you want to jump on with us, and at least watch everybody else.
Yeah, I would love to watch it.
But if you want to start working on it or whatever, prepare a little bit. You can even have it right there next to you. If you don't,
Yeah, I have no idea how to act.
Okay,
I have no idea.
Well, I can, dude. I would absolutely. I think that.
So people know,
that's bullshit, because I believe in your. First of all, you're entertaining as hell. You're likable.
Oh, can I entertain?
You're a musician, man. I didn't even know you were a musician.
So, and I will say this: I think the reason a lot of times actors can sing and singers can act is because there are dynamics to a song. One thing that I learned from being in church was, you watch that fortissimo and all of that, and you have to know when to be loud.
Crescendos.
Yeah, when you loud, when you're not loud, and there's reasons behind that.
Yes.
And so I would think that's somewhat similar. That I can
especially in a choir where you
yes. Well, I grew up singing in choir. Our choir director, Little Bitty Country Church, her name was Dr. Wofford.
That's where I learned to sing.
Dr. Wofford, and she said, we will not sound like rednecks. We will sound like the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. And we did.
That is awesome.
And people drove from all over the country to listen to us sing back in the day.
To me, I think that's what draws me closer to a spiritual experience whenever in church, as opposed to the fables and the stories, the sermons themselves, because I do believe they've been interpreted for so long, but you can't change the way that music makes you feel.
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
And that is uplifting.
That's real.
And that's when you can feel the power. That's when I feel this charge from this universal energy that I feel is God. That's when I know.
Yeah.
I don't.
And what a good feeling that is.
Yeah, and but I don't muddy the waters in my brain by assuming that I know anything,
and like even
other than what I am lucky enough to feel,
Even a good pastor, like if you talk to our pastor, it is an ever interpreting book that we've been trying to interpret forever. And
how many people have translated it for their own good?
And we don't really understand it, and we're not. Maybe his whole thing would be, maybe we're not supposed to.
I don't think you were. I think the people that take it too literally are the ones that wind up basket cases, because they didn't get the metaphor. They didn't get fucking
The root of
the story.
Exactly. So as we've gone through all this, have you figured out the one villain you wanted to play?
I would love to play a really, really ruthless cowboy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like you want to be a gunslinger, ruthless cowboy?
Yes.
I
think that in the vein of maybe playing it too easy, the ruthless cowboy whose family was wronged, and then
I got you.
And then the way that you
this out for revenge.
Yes, the Liam Neeson of
like a Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, I still, my ego still wants to be a hero in a way, even if it's an anti-hero. I still
Well, that's the way.
I
That's why everybody loves Blacklist.
Yes,
because he is an anti-hero.
Right. I still want people to go, you know what? I gotta admire his balls. You know.
Have you seen the new movie out, Little Liars? It just came out. We just got HBO Max.
Anything, man. I barely get to see anything. I watch documentaries all day.
To one of my favorite conspiracies, Meriwether Lewis.
I don't know if I know that. Is that Lewis and Clark?
Lewis and Clark.
Okay.
He was on the Natchez Trace traveling.
Okay.
And he committed suicide by shooting himself twice in the head.
Did he really?
Yes.
Twice in the head.
and they have actually exhumed his body to examine it again. And there's a lot of conspiracy that he was taking some stuff for the president and delivering it to somebody else, and he was murdered for it.
Well, that sounds way more likely than somebody committing suicide
so,
with 2 bullets.
Well, and the thing is, the reason they exhumed his body because it's like 2 coroner's reports.
I didn't even know that's what happened.
And this happened on the Natchez Trace in Tennessee.
Do you know I love
the
history.
House is still there. You can go there and visit.
If you and I can have a podcast where we revisit history and talk about that and then compare it to today.
Here's my.
I'm a history
This
buff,
is what I'm going to do, and you'll have to join me for one of these.
Anytime, buddy.
I am going to travel the Natchez Trace, and I'm going to hit the gas stations all the way along the Natchez Trace from Natchez to Nashville.
Can I go with you?
Yeah, and we're gonna and I'm gonna stop at all those historic places along the Natchez Trace because the Natchez.
I want to hit ghost towns.
If you want to see something that's fascinating, there's 10,000 years of history. That's a 10,000-year-old highway, and given it was a trail.
It's true.
But there's some belief now that there were buffalo in this part of the country, and that they actually made the first trace. Because you can go to it, and it's like as deep as 6 feet in places. It's
buddy,
crazy.
The amount of buffalo that used to roam the plains of this nation.
Used to be elk here.
Elk, and dude, they were
cougars,
woolly mammoths. There were
but I mean, they're not too distant past though. In like American
wild
history.
Mustangs.
Yes.
They had
the wild
camels.
Mustangs were brought, weren't they? I think they were brought here. The Mustangs were.
I think they came over from the Asian continent, from Mongolia.
Did they?
Is where I think the horses came down. But do you know that camels evolved in North America?
I did not know that.
Yeah, camels evolved in North America. And so
that's crazy.
They have all these like little versions of camels that whenever Pangea started breaking apart, they made it across to, whatever little isthmus or peninsula it was, that became their hovel.
The thing history's so fun because there's so much stuff in it that you can't explain today.
Oh, I love it. I love theorizing, and I love applying science as we know it today, and the science that is at least available to us to allow us the freedoms to question the science and the history of the science, but that is always backed up by facts and numbers, and you can't lie with facts.
Which scientist was it said that the Earth wasn't the center of the universe? Was it Galileo?
No, Galileo got persecuted for it.
And they made him stand up in front of the church. And the story goes, he stood up in front of the church and said that he lied.
Galileo
that the Earth is the center of the universe, but under his breath he went, but it really isn't.
and then they burned him. Burned him at the stake.
Did they burn Galileo at the stake?
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
Yarp. Isn't that fucking sad? Isn't that sad, man?
Well, we were talking about what's going on with social media. Well, you think about what happened when the printing press came along and people could actually get a Bible.
Goodness gracious.
Because nobody could get a Bible before the movable type printing press. And all of a sudden, everybody's got Bibles and they're reading it and they go to church and they go, wait a minute. That's not what this says. You're saying some shit that's not in this book. And it ended up almost ruining the Catholic Church. And we had the Reformation and nailing the theses to the door and all these different offshoots of Christianity because of the move. Without the movable type printing press, that would have never happened.
And if you just
But you imagine the chaos at the time probably looked really bad. So I feel really optimistic that with social media, we're going to look back and we're going to go, you know what? That was the catalyst to bring us to a better place.
The first social media were Bibles.
Yes.
The only place to get opinions that charged people up
was church.
Enough to give them hope that there was something after this. Or that they were superior to another group of people. B, which is a drug unto itself.
Yeah.
And that there are people that are subservient to you, which makes it means.
I think most people are looking for hope, though, don't you?
Means I'm talking about like in the beginning of it. The Egyptians before they let the slaves go, they justified it. They justified it because they looked at these people as a subpar group of people because they believed different.
That's just human history.
Yeah.
Man.
And what
we've been doing that for a long time.
The strangest, the subjugation usually comes down to money, and let's admit it. But they will often use religion as the big reason to convince the masses that what they're doing is right and that this little subsect deserves that outcasting and slavery and all that because they're lower than them, and so they should be honored to serve them, you know? I think about this stuff a lot. If you haven't,
I think about it a lot, but I'm trying not to. I don't want to worry myself, dude.
I don't think that it's ever going to go back to that. I think that you cannot deny history, and always make sure that future generations know that if we don't learn from it, we're doomed to repeat it.
So who killed Kennedy? Do we know?
Oh man, it wasn't fucking John. I can tell you right now, there was more people involved than the one that.
I mean, he was definitely involved.
He was involved. There's no doubt about it. He was involved.
But yeah, well, that's one I don't think we'll ever know the truth to. You know what I mean?
We'll never. We got a guy on his deathbed right now saying he did it, and nobody believes him. So.
There's a great book by an author from Natchez where he tackles that fictionally, obviously. But he basically says that there's some guys from Mississippi set him up as a patsy. It's really good. I can't remember the name of the book now. Might have been called The Bone Tree. Greg Isles is his name. Incredible
that name.
So look, you need, like, you talking about some books that need to be made into movies? Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He's so good. He's so graphic. And like, if he has a rape scene in the book, it's difficult to read because he's so graphic about it. And somebody asked him on an interview why he's so graphic. He's like, well, it shouldn't be easy to read a rape scene.
No.
You know, it should make you
become so
uncomfortable.
fucking numb to all of that you just don't understand the weight of the
that's what he
impact
said.
that it had on this character for the rest of their life.
It's supposed to be hard to read.
It's like stealing part of somebody's soul.
I'm reading a book right now called Battlegrounds, and it's written by a general, and he like is pretty tough on both Obama and Trump about that. So he doesn't. So
I think those are the ones I trust the most. I don't like these people just kissing Obama's ass. He did a lot of bizarre things, man. Whenever I was watching him wheel up that fucking, like, did you ever see those soldiers pushing that pallet with fucking gold bars and shit and bullion up that fucking ramp of that?
To send it to Iran?
Did you see that? Yeah. I was like, what the fuck is happening here?
That's proof that it's hard to make a conspiracy because that shit was known the next fucking day.
Dude, we've got you on video.
Yeah.
This wasn't like Iran-Contra where they were like, maybe it happened.
Have you seen American Made?
I have not.
I think it's the name of it, with Tom Cruise, where he is the pilot in Arkansas, in Mena. And he was taking drugs and working for the CIA, and they were getting money. He was actually moving the money for Iran-Contra, what he was doing, and they ended up with him on video.
Did I see that?
And they killed him. They damn killed him at the end of it. Oh, it's great. And the greatest part of the whole movie, so all this shit happened in Arkansas when Bill Clinton was governor. And so they catch him. He's in Arkansas and he's running drugs, and the CIA finds out. So they're like keeping law enforcement off of him. So they catch him. The DEA does. They got him in the, I forget what office he was in.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe it was Attorney General at the time, who was a woman. And he looked at all of Highway Patrol. He says, and Tom Cruise is great in this movie. He says, I tell you what, I'm fixing to walk out of here in a little while, but if y'all will let me go right now, I'll buy everybody in here a brand new Cadillac. And they're like laughing at him. And the door's open, and the Attorney General's sitting in the office. And she answers the telephone, and she says, what do you mean let him go? And she says, damn it, Bill. And she's on the phone. They never say it. But she's on the phone with Bill Clinton.
He's like, I want that Cadillac.
Yeah. And she's literally on, and because this happened. This is all a true story.
I believe it. Bill Clinton was a fucking, like, he was a player, man.
Yes, he was.
I don't think he's a criminal, but he was a player.
He was like, let him go. And they let him go. But eventually he did end up having to. But Reagan put out a video about what these Contras were doing and buying guns, and the video was in this dude's airplane, and he was in the video. So they saw him and said, oh, we're going to kill that bastard because we know now he's working against us. And you got to, like, seriously, it's one of the greatest movies.
Called?
I think it's called American Made, but you'll
Is it a feature?
Yes.
Oh, I got to see this.
Like, watch it and then go read the real history.
Oh, man. That's
the greatest story about this guy, and he looks nothing like Tom Cruise. He was like 250 pounds.
They never did.
A little overweight.
They never did.
But he has that
tickets.
charisma that Tom Cruise has in real life. He had, and they said anybody we interviewed prepping for this movie, they all said, oh, he was a piece of shit, but we loved him. You know, everybody liked this guy.
Yeah. Well,
He stole an airplane from a guy one time, and the guy says, yeah, he stole this plane from me, and told about the whole story of him stealing it, and he said, but you know, he was a really nice guy.
Well, look at Frank Abagnale. Do you know that story? The Catch Me If You Can. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
Isn't that the greatest?
Yeah, and he was a kid.
No, he's a kid.
That's what's crazy.
And he works for the government now as one of their top advisors on.
Well, that's like if this guy had
money
lived,
laundering and.
If this guy had lived what kind of life, you know, and turned his life around. But when they put him in, they convicted him and made him start going to rehab as part of his sentencing on a set time, and that's how the drug cartel found him at rehab and killed him. They killed him outside the rehab.
Clean that out for me with hot water, please.
Yes.
This is super hot water, so be careful.
But yeah, they murdered the dude. Tom Cruise. He was really perfect for that. That's one of my favorite roles of Tom Cruise ever, actually.
My favorite is The Last Samurai.
That was a
that
good
movie changed my life. I tell you, I was going through a real battle with painkillers and stuff at the time.
So what about that movie?
I was suffering, and I went to visit my grandmother in Oklahoma, and I was laying in my grandfather's deathbed, the one he died in. I was laying there, I was hurting and dope sick, and I was feeling just like I wanted to die, right? And I start watching The Last Samurai, and there is this moment in there when it's just Ken Watanabe and Tom Cruise after he's already sort of kind of become accepted or whatever, and they start talking about the cherry blossoms. Do you
just vaguely remember that? Yeah,
it's so amazing, these little messages. And I started weeping, and I started. It was so profound to me that it literally changed my life, and I haven't.
Is this water gonna get hot?
I haven't looked back. It is if you do that.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I'm talking about like
Yeah.
industrial hot. We need it.
I got enough of hot in my kitchen.
Yeah. We need it for this.
I got my water heater turned up as hot as it'll go.
Yeah, we need to do that.
I hated to interrupt that great moment, but because I fucked that up totally.
Which one?
About the cherry blossoms, dude.
Oh, I know, but see, the thing is that it's all, how each individual perceives the message according to the importance of what's going on in your life at the time, you know? It's like I never notice specific types of very personal music until I've gone through something. you know, where I either embarrassed myself or I got broke up with or I broke a heart or, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, every song I hear, every song I hear on the radio has to do with that. It's like draining
that's just
damn
awareness,
brain
man.
every damn day. But it always, I believe in the universe talking to us. You know?
I do too.
And I think that
where focus goes, energy flows, dude.
absolutely right. And you know, thoughts become things as well.
Yes.
And learning that has helped me stop blaming the world for so many things that I used to blame the world for. And
You read a lot.
I do read a lot.
You need to read a book called Awareness because it talks a lot about this stuff, written by a Jesuit priest. And his name was Anthony DeMello, and it would change your life.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Well, you know,
Change your life.
Paulo Coelho and, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff is what
So,
moves me. These messages
God,
within the
what was
message.
the big book he wrote? I can't even think of it now. You know, he refuses to let him make it into a movie.
Really?
The Alchemist. That's what I'm
Alchemist. That's Paulo
that's
Coelho.
it. That's what I mean.
That's my man, Paulo
Yeah.
Coelho. That's what I'm talking about. It's my favorite book of all time.
So
that movie changed my. I mean, that book changed my life.
So awareness will do much the same thing, but it's not fictional. It's literally, and what they did was he was just such a great speaker that somebody said, "Let's write a book." He said, "I don't want to write a book," and they said, "Look, I'll ghostwrite it for you. I'll just take your speeches and put them into a book." And several of them, but the one called Awareness, I mean, dude, the way he thinks, you'll be like, your head's gonna explode. You're gonna be like you're there, but it's one of those things like when he says it, you'll go, I was really there, but I was that millimeter away from thinking this way. I'd almost discovered it on my own, but I couldn't have without this book. You know, It's that weird. You just listen to it, and I've got it on Audible, and so I've listened to it like 3 times on Audible, just driving. And every time I listen to it, I'm just like, oh my God. But it's this whole idea of, and this, he said, he's Christian, he's a Jesuit priest, but he starts out the book going, Christians are so obsessed with life after death that they forget about life before death. And that's the start of the book. And he goes, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
My stepmom used to be, her entire existence is going to be, Jesus coming one day. He's coming. And
he is, but right now we gotta live here.
Genuinely be disappointed if it doesn't happen. Normally I don't put vinegar in here with the cowboy because I just want it to be fresh and not have any of that.
Yeah.
But with this particular mixer, I've learned that if I put just a little bit of vinegar in there, it'll actually help.
Apple cider vinegar is the shit.
Oh man! And so I have most people put either one or the other. I have a specific combination of both that keeps it super fresh without it being too overpowering in one direction or another. And man, I've got this thing down to a science. I've got it down to exactly. I make about 80 ounces every time, and which is 10 of the 8. So I'm gonna do 10 cowboys and then 10 outlaws on this because this is one order. For somebody that's going out one order.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna do 8 16 ounces for cowboy and for
big ones.
Yeah, big ones.
Look, dude, I gotta ask you this.
Yep.
Is Mallrats 2 gonna happen?
So I don't even have an answer.
Who knows?
I get to I let that. I don't even think about that shit because I've been dealing with that heartbreak for 4 years.
So kind of like me not thinking about politics.
Yep.
It's like, why put yourself through that?
Yeah, it's such a waste of energy. The way I see
I hope the hell it does.
It happens. If not, I'm so happy with my life, man. I really see how getting all that liquid.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
Is that too liquidy?
It's too liquidy, and
so do you drain that a little bit, maybe?
I think that's what I'm going to do. And my last one, I didn't have to do that.
It smells good already.
This is the difference between London Most Wanted pepper jelly and any other pepper jelly you'll ever have. Is it will be the most fresh tasting thing you've ever tried with in this realm. We use more
it already smells like pepper jelly.
It's something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? And then watch it. Smell that. Come smell that. Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, the aroma in the nose.
The next
kind of hits you.
I'm gonna do
right at the top of the nose.
I'm gonna do a hot batch next, and wait till you see the difference. Of that. It's fantastic.
It's gonna burn your nose a little bit.
Oh, it'll get a little bit more.
Hey, so we were talking about Cobra Kai yesterday.
That's right.
And I told my wife that you're friends with Billy, aka Johnny.
He's my boy. I've got pictures of him in my phone with my kids.
It's which that brought you up in stature with my wife.
Oh yeah,
she loves him.
Yeah, he's a really, really, really good cat, man. I'll tell you, one of the sweetest people on the face of the planet.
You know that comes through in his character on this. Like he can't hide it in his character. He is
good, so
freaking nice, and it's like, dude, you're gonna love it. It's so stuck in the '80s.
Help me remember that the hot's in the front and the cowboys in the back. Outlaws in the front and the cowboys in the back.
Well, you should be able to like smell that.
Yeah, right.
You drop one, dude. Did you give me too big wolf?
Vinegar. It's the vinegar more than anything.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, man. Sometimes when we first started doing it, isn't that something? Isn't that neat?
You can smell the jalapeno.
Yeah, watch this. Watch this. This is
okay.
This is where it gets fun.
Is it gelatin?
This is our pectin. This is our pectin. So we sugar. Check this out. Come here, watch this. It's not proprietary, you know.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Each pot.
Yes, it takes a lot of sugar.
It does.
That helps that pectin activate.
Yeah, oh boy, does it ever.
It won't firm up.
And it responds so well with the vinegar.
Oh, yeah.
And just makes this magical combo.
Well, sugar and vinegar is the base of everything in the South.
It sure is. People didn't realize that, but it sure is.
Well, they both are they both make stuff keep longer.
Yep.
Sugar and vinegar are
create. They actually cause the sugars and the enzymes within the fruit, the vegetables, and stuff like that to get more robust and tastier and combine.
But I mean, even in meat and stuff like that, it keeps the oxygen out, so nothing spoils.
So here's the trick. So because I've already put two cups into here, I only got to put 1 cup of white, 1 cup of the brown in here. But then I put 2 cups of white and 2 cups of brown in that one because I've already added vinegar to this one. And
no, I'm with you.
Got it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so whereas I'm going to put two of each in here.
That's you, bro.
That's fucking bill collectors.
So you like 80s music too?
I love it.
That's what you're gonna love about. And his favorite word in the show, Johnny's favorite word, Billy's favorite word. If he calls somebody pussy one time, he calls them a pussy 15 million. It is the greatest thing.
What's his show?
He says, "Don't be a bunch of pussies." So he starts his own dojo and calls it Cobra Kai.
Gotcha.
And he gets them in there, and he's like halfway drunk on Coors Banquet, and just telling everybody don't be a bunch of pussies. That's basically how to be a Cobra Kai. and it in this weird way it works. And he's the hero in this one.
Oh, good.
Like
it's not because such a sweet guy, man. It's impossible to just keep hating the cat.
No, even that's what we were talking about in the last podcast I did with Will Bright. We were talking about how if you look back at it, he really wasn't the bad guy.
No.
And that's actually like this. Somebody that produced this show decided the same thing and said, "Okay, we're gonna right that wrong." You know what I mean? And it's unbelievable.
That's great.
I loved it. My wife is addicted to it. She was so sad when we watched all of them.
Yeah. So
this was greener.
You see how? Yeah, these are the a
little bit greener because you got all of that that jalapeno in it.
But you see the immersion of peppers in this?
Oh yeah.
When you get pepper jelly from almost anywhere in the world, you're going to get they might add a couple of jalapenos, maybe a couple of slices of a bell pepper, and call it pepper jelly.
Doesn't have as much pepper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason what our sets apart from everywhere else in the world is the amount of fresh peppers we put in there.
And when we did ours at 1933, we just used red bells and green bells, but we used a lot. I mean, we couldn't buy anything like what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You just couldn't buy.
Sam's is the place I go. For me, it's always been about the kaleidoscope
No, yeah, you want the pre.
to look at
you
it
want it
because
both
I'm an
on.
artist, right?
Yeah.
And so I
well,
want
you got the yellow in there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got the
And you
yellow.
got really kind of got a couple of different greens in the hot one. You
Yep.
get 2 different color greens.
We got bells and jalapenos.
We did a charcuterie plate.
We'll get as we start growing, we'll get serranos. We will get poblanos, ancho poblanos, which are hot as hell. We will have.
I love ancho
We will
poblanos.
have south. We will have. The Reapers, we will have ghost peppers, habaneros of 3 different habaneros. We have UFO purples. We're going to have about 60 different types of peppers eventually, hopefully. So I don't use that on the sweet. I only use that on the. All right, Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, like I'm answering that, right?
Jesus.
Did you ever see yourself in Mississippi growing peppers, dude?
No,
I mean, is that not a crazy
so
where
awesome.
life takes us?
I love it. I love it, man. I'd be so depressed if I was still in Los Angeles trying to fucking play that game still. Ugh, yeah. It gives me no life. I've been there. I've reached that mountain.
Yeah.
I've planted that flag.
Well, and the crazy thing is now you can do the same thing here.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be in LA anymore.
No,
I was talking to a producer
LA
friend of mine
doesn't make
yesterday, and he
movies.
said people have come to the realization they don't have to live in LA to be in the movie industry.
I figured that out 7 years ago, and my quality of life is so much better. Nobody expects me to be anything other than just a real person here, which I like. I think there are people that still have that sort of a little bit of a starstruckness at first, and then they just realize I'm just me, and so it quickly goes away because I don't like people.
Well, I guess particularly people my age, but people like my daughter's age probably don't know
They
anyway.
don't give a shit.
Their idea of fame is so different than what we grew up with.
There's a
Because, to me,
YouTube-
famous was
YouTube
John
and
Wayne
TikTok.
when I was a kid.
Yeah, there's this YouTube.
Johnny Carson, you know.
YouTube and TikTok.
Yes.
Yeah, I go to conventions and there are kids that are YouTubers that have lines around the building, out and around the building.
wild.
You've never heard of a motherfucking one of them. Yeah, this has been fun, man.
It has.
I really like getting in here and sort of getting immersive with you because, you're a restaurateur, you're a farmer, and you're all about organic
Sustainability, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get to where, we're not these doomsday people where we think that we have to get off the grid because bad shit's coming. We're coming because we know that a solar pulse could come through and fucking wipe out everything, and then we're gonna need to be able to. It can be.
It might be 2 months before everything's back to normal.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly right. And in that meantime, people are gonna turn into animals. Oh, this is just one sample of how they're gonna be sending it out.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that?
I've seen the Ozark stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're good. It's Ozark, so we're getting in with Ozark.
Gotcha.
Yeah, which is huge.
Yeah.
And then we got this guy up in Pennsylvania that's saying he wants us to come up and he's talking about putting 250 into it.
That would be great.
It would be good. I'd rather keep it local. Some guy from Pennsylvania doesn't know dick about Mississippi, and they're gonna want to come down and just start getting money.
Maybe. You have to be careful with who you partner with. That's for sure.
That's what I'm saying. I just, I would rather, I'd rather go into business with you and us be all of us have mutual, respect for each other and understanding about what it takes to live off the land and do things with the land and all of that stuff, and how we can maybe all help each other.
So there's a thing at Mississippi State that you may not be aware of, but they have a department that helps people with what you're doing for free. So if you got a product, they'll help you come in and develop how you're going to produce it.
Uh-huh.
How you're going to source it out. All of that. They do all of that. It's free.
It's the corporate logistics that I admittedly know nothing about. Leslie's better at it because she's a paralegal.
Yeah.
But I would always want, like your advice.
We were going to do, before I closed 1933, we had talked about doing our own. And the cool thing about this is it is a unique product. So I went and met with this man at Mississippi State for free. It's part of the extension service, which every state has an extension service. So Mississippi's extension service is part of that on campus. So I went and met with these guys, and I said, we're going to make our own. You're going to be close on that one.
Oh, yeah.
Man. You can have extra.
I think I am going to have extra. I might have a little fucking 4 ouncer you can take with you if you want.
We were going to make our own sour mix because we made at 1933. We made our own sour mix. We used fresh limes, just kind of what you're doing. Fresh limes, fresh cane sugar. I say fresh cane sugar, real cane sugar, and all that stuff. And they were really excited about helping us because nobody makes a product like that. Everybody wants to make a hot sauce. You know what I mean? Like everybody makes hot sauce. Not everybody makes pepper jelly.
Yeah.
So I think that's the kind of thing. And did you know Mississippi State makes their own pepper jelly?
No.
Yes.
I would put mine up against theirs any day.
They make it. Well, they make all kind of stuff, and they just sell it in the extension store. They make their own. Did you know they make cheese? At Mississippi, it's called Edam. Well, they make Edam and cheddar, but they do these Cannonball Edam cheese, and they do it as part of teaching. So they're teaching dairy, and part of dairy is cheese making. So they just decided to make their own cheese there. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, what a trip.
Isn't it a trip? Man, I appreciate it. I think we're at a good, maybe a cutting off point, dude.
Whatever you want to do, my friend.
Let's
do this more often.
Let's have the last word, dude. What else what you want to throw out there?
I want to try. Last thing is I want you to try.
Well, I'm buying a jar from you before I leave anyway.
Awesome. So I want you to try, and on the air, I want you to give us your
So
opinion.
on air, the last thing we do, on air opinion on this pepper jelly, which I've kind of tasted already, so I know it's good. I've tasted the.
Taste it with the other stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for real.
In a couple of ways I want you to try it.
Because my wife has already put it on me that I have to buy some London's pepper jelly before I come home.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the upsell.
And you know what I'm doing tonight? I'm going back to my kitchen at the restaurant. I'm cooking tonight for tomorrow.
Nice.
I'm gonna make some cornbread dressing.
Yum.
Cornbread dressing.
I just made my own panko bread crust. So I let some of the French bread that I've made dry out, and then just
Making some breadcrumbs out of it.
And then I made fried chicken with it. Fuck. It clumped so beautifully and made so nice. It was so cool.
So you're not gonna give up acting, are you?
Never.
For all of this?
Never.
Can you never give it up?
Never.
Is it just like in your blood now?
Absolutely. Any type of art's in my blood. Cooking is as much as
And I know that, but is there one that you love more than the rest, or is it like all good?
I like directing better than anything else.
So directing is that the next step?
I've directed movies.
Yeah, but I know where you're going.
I could do that for the rest of my life.
Without the acting, I mean, like directing and that's what I mean, just like full-time directing.
Right.
That's
what would make me the happiest.
That's what I'm asking.
Absolutely. Because, it's, as an artist, I like to, paint in broad strokes and small strokes. And then as a director, you kind of get to do that with people and performances and that kind of stuff,
I'm excited about trying the actual finished product now. It's
Gruyere cheese.
yeah, and that's like the best cheese anyway. So my mouth's watering, and it's cheat day for me, so it worked out good.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm fat now, so I have to diet. You're talking about what you feel about getting older.
Yeah.
For me, it's two things. I almost cannot lose weight, and it's like much harder. Used to, I was just like, I'm gonna diet for a week, 20 pounds gone.
Right.
And now it's like, okay, which I did lose 10 pounds this week.
That's good.
Yeah, and but for me, sleep. If I lose sleep now, I might as well be hungover.
Cowboy or outlaw?
You tell me what's the best.
Outlaw.
That's what we're gonna go with then. But yeah, if I lose sleep, I might as well be hungover. I mean, I'm hungover without drinking. All right, dude.
Oh yeah.
That looks beautiful. So I've got a little piece of Gruyere cheese and some cowboy, which is the spicy.
On a pretzel cracker. I make a puppy pull the freight train, won't?
It is really not that hot. I mean, it's spicy, but you could literally sit here and eat that whole jar, and it wouldn't burn you up.
We have a special edition.
I know, but my point is, people need to know. Because some people have it on the back. Yeah.
It's lovely though. It doesn't.
Oh my God, it's so
good.
It
doesn't send you running, right?
Oh no, and that's my point. It's hot, but it doesn't send you running.
Right.
And that cheese is good with it too, man.
Oh, the Gruyere is best. People have been saying, like all these other ones, and
You would like to eat them.
brie and all of that stuff, and I tried it with brie. I wasn't that crazy about it. All right, I'm gonna set you up with a cowboy.
Yeah, I'll have to say which one I like better now.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I think I already know, but
It's got to be that. I love it. It's just got that kick.
immediately,
Come and see it comes out. What do you think?
definitely the spicy.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
it's not even close to me. I like.
they're
that
both
look.
really good.
I just love that little.
But well, it's like we were talking about earlier. All those different spicy peppers you're putting in there, they all have flavor too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just hotter. It's not like that's a hotter version of that. It's like this a totally different flavor profile because you've got all those different peppers in there.
It's like a pepper salad mixed in with vinegar and jelly.
Man, that's so. I haven't had any sweets in a week, and so yeah, it's so damn
That's
good.
so good. You get it now?
Oh yeah, I could totally sit there and eat the jar.
Oh. Those are for you, my friend.
These are so good, dude. I'm glad you put the top on it because I'd have just sat here with you and ate the whole damn jar right here.
So good, isn't it?
Brother, thank you for coming on, man.
Oh, dude. Thank you for coming, man.
And it's been a lot of fun.
So fun. Always with you.
And I guess that's a wrap
And
on
I'm
this
always
dude.
down for a good debate.